I will call them extremists, were elected to all forms of government. Within 3 months of them being elected, 3 months, ladies, they were sworn in January, and by the middle of March, early April, they had introduced 916 pieces of legislation in 49 state legislatures to restrict a woman's access to health care. In 3 months. You want to know what's on that menu? You. Here's my thigh. Vaginal ultrasounds. Forced vaginal ultrasounds. Now my arm is on the menu. We're going to allow doctors to withhold information from patients if we think it might lead to them getting an abortion. No such thing as a Hippocratic oath. Abstinence-only sex education. We're going to redefine the word rape. And we're going to cut off funding for Planned Parenthood. So I am a political consultant. I know people think we're awful human beings. I am not Karl Rove. We are not all Karl Rove. Let me tell you about my political consulting. Let's call it my restaurant. I'd like to invite you to have a meal in my restaurant. Let me just introduce you to some of the menu. Diane, are you here? You're going to love this one. We're going to bypass the FDA, and we're going to ban plastic chemical additives that are in things like baby bottles. You know who introduced that bill? A woman. When Iraq and Afghanistan veterans were coming home and finding themselves in court for felony, for drug possession, for domestic abuse, someone said, what's going on here? Let's create a court because these guys clearly have PTSD and don't deserve to go to jail. They deserve therapy. They deserve help. Who sponsored that bill, ladies? A woman. When children in poverty had no chance of going to college, a bill was sponsored that said, you know what? We're going to give any child of poverty who stays out of trouble and gets good grades 2 years of free college. Who sponsored that bill? A woman. That's right. That is the menu at my restaurant, and come enjoy. Please join me. We'd love to have you dine there.
But it was the bill.
Slide, please.
I know, but I know kids.
Okay. The other thing is, I'm here to ask you to run for office. But I'm also here to ask you to live a political life. And that doesn't always mean you're going to run for office, but I want to show you a path to get there. So, number one, if you leave here and do anything today, if you are not already registered to vote, please vote. Please go register to vote. The second thing on this screen says vote in primaries. Thank you. Not enough women vote in primaries. And let me explain to you the importance of voting in a primary. When you go and you vote in a general election, how many choices do you have? And who determined those choices for you?
People who voted in primaries.
So there was this lovely man in Indiana this year. His name was Richard Murdoch. He believes that rape babies are a gift. Do you know how Richard Murdoch was put on the ballot in the general election? He won a primary, ladies. He was the choice that was put up for all of us to decide on in Indiana. Anyone from Indiana here? Streaming, I hope. Primaries are important. They're very important. And if you are in a state where there's no party registration, you can walk in and vote in a primary. If you are in a state where you are an independent, Oftentimes, you can walk in, register for whichever party you want to vote for that day, and then just disaffiliate. There's all sorts of ways to do this. And my favorite analogy yesterday was the soap opera. Inform yourself. The other goal I'm going to have here today is to make you a better consumer and producer of information. If you inform yourself, there's no political ad that can pull the wool over your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about informing ourselves, okay? How do you do that? I mean, Marianne was perfect yesterday. Read. Read, listen, pay attention. If you don't pay attention, you are stuck watching these ridiculous ads that people like myself are paid to produce. That said, I'm going to make you a better consumer of that information. We're going to talk about that. Can we go to the next slide, please? Number 2, hold your elected officials accountable. See, I've got this picture over here of someone at the computer, and there's emails flying through on them. Write a letter to the editor of your newspaper. Here's the thing about people who run for office. Too often, they are people who have a very high opinion of themselves, and they get very upset when someone isn't happy with them, when someone doesn't like them. Write a letter to the editor, and now everyone who reads that newspaper is going to know your opinion. Thank them for what they've done. If they have done something that you appreciate, let them know. Not enough people say thank you to elected officials. We're so busy criticizing them. There are a lot of amazing people out there doing good work. Yeah, that's right. Let me tell you one woman you should be thanking. And this goes to staying informed and understanding, and this is what I hope you all come out of here with. Becoming political, whether or not you run for office or not. But here's where strategists like myself come in, okay? There is something to the art of war. It's about strategy. I learned that. And strategy is understanding how the process works. So, when that bill in Virginia said, hey, we're going to force women to have vaginal ultrasounds before they can have an abortion, a really smart woman named State Senator Janet Howell said, I know how to play this system. You want to play that game? Great. Here's something called an amendment. In this amendment, you ready for this? I'm going to read it so I don't get this wrong. If you want to pass a bill that requires women to have forced vaginal ultrasounds, here's what you're going to get, boys. We're going to require men to have a rectal exam and cardiac stress test before obtaining a prescription for Viagra.